Hello, y'all. Welcome back to my channel. This is Jet speaking. This is Logical MOG. And in this particular video, man, um, everybody knows about the Johnathan Major situation, things that happened and that took place with him. In this video, we just gonna talk about the overall arching theme and the lessons that can be learned in his situation. Right? Ultimately, like the things that you can, understand, the things that you could be able to get a better understanding of how to move, comprehend, understand things by and large. Because I believe his situation was such, people think it was a lot of injustice that took place. His situation was so crazy that I believe a lot of people forget why certain movements exist. And this, especially since we had the major event in 2020, this event made people forget a lot of things behind the scenes, and people kind of got but to end off the year in 2023, I believe this situation truly put everybody back on the map to understand, hey, this is not a game. No matter how promising your career is, no matter how promising your life may be, especially as a man, these things can be disastrous if you don't make the correct decisions. And you have to have foresight and be understanding things in a multifaceted way. We're going to get into that later in a second. To start off, though, man, right? We all know what happened, right? We all know why this man was unjustly, I don't know if that's a word or not, doesn't matter. Why he was unjustly, there we go. Why he was unjustly put in a situation where he had to fight for his freedom. They were about to give him a year for this. And you said, well, what were they about to give him a year for? What was the thing they wanted to give him a year for? Well, let's first of all, let's go and let's track the understanding. The understanding. What is this truly about? Right? And it's Johnathan Major's horrible decisions, his major mistake, the things that got him in the position and the situations that he's in today. And what are those things? All right. Number one, man, his biggest mistake. What was his biggest mistake? His biggest mistake was not identifying and understanding his role. He didn't understand his role. And what does that mean? It means that for Johnathan Majors, a lot of these things that he was doing, he didn't understand his position. He dealt with a woman that was in a lower status, lower quality of mind, lower mentality, lower every aspect of her being was a lower energy. On top of that, he didn't understand his role, meaning he didn't understand his greatness. So because he dealt with a woman that he should have never been dealing with in the first place, it got him stuck up. It got him in a trick bag. It got him in a situation where he shouldn't have been in. It got him in a scenario that shouldn't have existed. Because if he was with a woman that was already understanding her role alongside him, this shit would have never happened. Certain things like this would have never existed because mentally she would have understood, okay, I don't need to do anything that's going to put me out there, that's going to make me be any type of way, right? So when he ultimately goes out there and does the things he does, right? And we see him being the superstar that he is. We saw the activities he was making, the movies he was doing, right? But all of that became mute when the situation happened. And what was that situation? He was trying to run away from a female, and you can see here he's sprinting. Look at the distance between him and her. He is sprinting for dear life. He wants nothing to do with this, right? But he had no way to escape it, because ultimately his biggest mistake was he was dealing with a woman who didn't know how to play her role correctly, right? And because she couldn't play her role, it had disastrous effects for him. She chased this man 4 to 5 to 6 blocks, and then still he was convicted of a crime. We don't know if he's going to serve time or not. We don't know how far the court proceedings will go, as far as the court taking him, because it's not even him. It's not even the woman that's really doing all this. It's the district attorney of Manhattan that's doing all this. How far they're going to go to truly make a statement, because they're going to use him as the poster boy. And as of right now, he is that. He is the poster child of said atrocities when it comes to men being misled. For right now, he is the poster child for right now. We're not saying it won't change, but for right now, he's the poster child. And when we go back and we see that was his biggest mistake, was dealing with that type of woman, right? He shouldn't have been dealing with her. But what impact did that have by and large? What impact did that have by and large? We learned by the outcome of the situation what we needed to know. We learned from this situation, from this look at that. I want to play that again. Look at that. And they're calling that yank right there. We're going to play it again. They're calling this yank. That yank. They're calling it him committing some type of crime. Because you can make it doesn't matter what they call it. They can call it a bunch of different things, right? They call it negligible assault or something like that, something of that nature. But the point is, ultimately, that's why he was in trouble, because he yanked his arm away, right? So when I ask you, look at the trajectory he was on. The outcome itself showed us, okay, by you even getting in that type of scenario, you can't even be in this scenario. That's why the first problem was that was his biggest mistake. The fact that he was even in the scenario causes him to make a mistake. And by that cause, we already know the outcome. If I see you in that scenario, bro, and that scenario ever go south, the outcome is disastrous for you. And that's the point. Some people like playing with fire. Some people say, man, I don't give a fuck, man. I'm gonna do what I want to do. That's not gonna really mess with me, man. Nothing's gonna really happen. When you go ask yourself, all right, cool, do that. And you end up in a situation where when you're doing good and you're going places and you're doing what you need to do, these things happen to you. And I love this man in Loki. I love this man in Creed, right? Now, I'm not a big movie fan per se, but I saw what he was doing. Now, Loki I did watch. I didn't watch Creed, but I saw what he was doing. I saw the trajectory. His trajectory was definitely pointing in a direction of he's about to be a big star. If he wasn't already a really good star. To put this in, I like using sports. He was the John Morant of the music industry, right? He was the John Morant of not the music industry, the entertainment business, in particular, acting, etc. Right? He was the John Morant, right? But what happened? What made it so that he was no longer the John Morant? What happened that he was no longer what he needed to be? Well, he got caught up, just like John Morant did. Now, John Morant is able to come back. We're going to see his comeback arc. Do I think it can be strong? That's dependent on the opportunity. John Morant he was in a situation where his opportunity was at stake, but he still was given a second chance. Do I believe Majors deserves a second chance? Absolutely. But from the outcome itself, the lessons that need to be learned is you cannot put yourself in those scenarios under any circumstances, bro. If the circumstances calls for the worst case scenario, you got to take the worst case scenario. He was dealing with this woman and he met her at on set, and the worst case scenario unfortunately happened to happen, right? And lastly, I think this is an important part of the whole story as well, is every aspect of him. I think this is a very important aspect of the whole situation as well, is that every aspect of what happened showed us that he's basically going to get dropped by all major movie producers. Especially, they was just waiting for the verdict. But I even thought once the verdict came, it was pretty much already written in stone what was pretty much going to happen to the boy. And I believe there's no way that you could have saw that. Everybody saw the writing on the wall. Everybody saw the writing on the wall, because we all knew that what was going on to him was unfair. Look at he was on a path to greatness, but every major studio dropped him, because if you're a domestic dispute, he dang near was considered OJ, right? Since the OJ trial, they've been really going hard on dudes, right? And look, he was a star. There was nothing about his situation that showed that he wasn't going to be great, or that he didn't have greatness embedded in him. And that's what's really shocking to me, is the fact that this happened to him. It was quite shocking, because we all understood the reality of that he really didn't do anything wrong. What was he supposed to do in this scenario? How was he supposed to act? Right? Let's play it again so we don't forget. What was he supposed to do in this scenario? Right? Let's play that back. That's the major issue right here. That yank right there is what made him get in a situation where, hey man, we don't believe you deserve to be in roles. If that yank right, I've done worse in consensual activities. Right? So he's losing millions of dollars for that. And I've done worse in consensual activities, if you get my drift, right? And in the course of life, right? So these are the things that we pay attention to as men. And I'm telling you, he's running for his life. It's like, in his wildest dreams, he would have never thought that would have been the outcome, right? That the scenario would have painted him, and he would have been not being able to play the different roles, get to enjoy the different storylines that come along with playing those positions. These things I know ultimately affected him, and I don't know, moving forward, if he'll ever be able to trust women. If he'll ever be able to say, you know what, I understood that was what happened, but I believe, this and that and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I doubt it, to be honest, because so much has happened, so much has taken place since then. It makes me go, this is a cautionary tale for all men, right? Johnathan Majors made a major mistake, and it cost him not only a promising career, at least for the short term, but a lot of money and definitely a rising star in the space in general. But with that said, man, all those things that I just mentioned, as we come to our conclusion, right? I want you to ultimately take away from this video, man and woman, be cautious of your role in situations. But in particular, men, you have to be extremely cautious, because unfortunately, women are going to be women. You have to be 5, 6, 7, 8 steps ahead. He, in all actuality, if he had to replay the whole events back in his head, he probably would have let her abuse him, and then break off the relationship at a later time in a more safe, distant manner, maybe through text, maybe phone call, I don't know, email. But nonetheless, he'd have probably broke it off in a way more stringent way, because he even came back the next day And he called the police. He's the one who called and notified the authorities. And he still got hit with this type of shit. That's why I said, look, man, fuck the bullshit, man. You gotta be cognizant of what's going on if you want to be able to be great out here in every single way. And at every single turn, something can get you caught up in mishaps. All right. And this right here, Johnathan Major's situation, is a microcosm of that at the highest level. It had a lot of attention on it, and it showcased the inequality just from men and women. We're not even talking about the racial lines, but just from man and woman perspective, there was nothing he could do. Not only was he a man, he was also black. It was just a dominance. It was just a domino effect of epic proportions that he couldn't foresee. How could he foresee that yank was going to give him? Let me show that one more time, bro. That yank, right? I want to make sure I get this. I want to make sure I get it. That this yank was going to cause him his career. And the push back in the car was going to cause him his career. That yank, do you believe that yank should cause him his career? Come on, man. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Absolutely. Ultimately, though, man, if you got to this point in the video, though, man, like I said, man, I appreciate you. I thank you. It's a quick video. I know things happened, a couple weeks back, but I always like to give things time before so I can digest it, so to speak, so that when I finally do speak on an issue, I have more time to give my thoughts. For the most part, sometimes it may be quicker, sometimes it may not, but for the most part, I like to give my time to really break these things down in general. Um, for my people, whoever watches my content. But like I said, if you got to this point, man, I thank you for even coming by my channel, my content, and spending time with me, man. I really do, man. You know what I'm saying? You could be anywhere else, but you're spending it with me. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? And I hope you took something away from this, right? And I like to give, because of how I think, I like to give my people who follow me, the brothers and sisters who mess with me all across the world, who rock with me. I like to give y'all the best content possible that I can conjure up. And like I said, I've been in the lab really doing the best for my guys, man. But I really wanted to talk on this subject just to get it out there, the mentality, the things you can understand, things we can take away from it. But by and large, man, like I said, get your MPS up, your mental, physical, and spiritual. It's your GPS in life. It's going to get you to where you want to go, right? But in the same time span, while your GPS is doing what it's supposed to do, just make sure you cautious of your surroundings. You looking both ways before you cross the street type, like, let's be prepared because things about to get real. And just like Johnathan Majors is a cautionary tale, try to prevent yourself from also being that. Learn from his situation. Be the wise man learning from other people's situations, and not the fool having to go through the situation and getting the same outcome to then get the wisdom. We live in a time period where wisdom is overflowing from multiple different places. It's abundant right now. And I believe you should be learning all you can. With all that being said, though, I appreciate you. I thank you. If you came by, and I want to say, man, I'm going to catch you on the next one. Peace.